There is one thing that you can do that is going to bother the narcissist so much. It will threaten their superiority, their sense of self, their worth, and they're going to react with anger, resentment, and punishment and denial. Want to know what it is? Watch this video. Hello my friends and welcome back. I hope that you're all doing really well. So in this video today, I'm going to kind of explore how narcissists deal with rejection. Now I can tell you right now it's going to be negative, but what they are actually going to do really depends on the person and the situation. But this is what I really want to unpack in this video. Narcissists see rejection, okay, because it is one of their triggers, all right? It's one of their core wounds. And it triggers them so much, okay, that they react in a certain way. And most of them will react in this way. And this is what I want to talk about. And I also want to kind of explore how you can overcome this and understand this a little bit better if you are facing something like this. But before I get into the video, I just want to say that I do go live on this channel every single Tuesday. And if there is a question or there is something on your mind, I'd say come on over. It would be great to have you there. Alongside the chat, alongside the live, we do have the chat, which is with a supportive community. Honestly, don't take my word for it. Come on over. It is a vibe. Like, honestly, we have so much fun. And I really, really would love to see you there. All right. So what happens to the narcissist when you reject them? Now, I'm talking about rejection when you reject them. Okay. It does happen. It does happen because you kind of like reach the end of your tether. You reach, you're kind of like that point. And, you know, you realize that there is no way of progression in this situation. There is no way of being able to work things out. And for your own protection, I completely understand that rejection is something, or kind of like ending a relationship or ending a friendship or whatever it is. Okay, you're ending something and you're putting your boundaries in place and you're like, right, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. Which, whilst I am really happy that you have got to that stage and, you know, you are able to initiate your boundaries, I mean, that is amazing. But this video really focuses on what's going to happen to them. For those of you that kind of want to know what they are going to be thinking, what they're going to be doing, that's what this video is going to be about. I will make a separate video of like what happens, you know, what happens to them when they reject you, like what's going on. But in this video, we're mainly looking at the narcissist rejecting you. So when you reject the narcissist, what you're doing is you are triggering core wounds within the narcissist, mainly abandonment. Now, this stems back obviously to their childhood, to their upbringing. Usually this was something that happened to them on a regular basis. And the way that they have learned to deal with it is to numb, is to not feel, is to completely reestablish themselves when something like this happens, because this is how they have learned to be in their childhood when they were growing up. If their parents had told them off, or perhaps maybe they had punished them because the narcissistic child wasn't doing what the narcissistic parents wanted them to do. This was the dynamic of relation within this family. So the narcissist learns that if they are rejected, if they are told off, if they are punished, that means that they have disappointed that person in some way. So in order to be able to regain themselves, they will be met with anger, a lot of resentment. But what they do is they numb and they dissociate from that. And this is where their big kind of superiority, their ego was formed, because it was all about not seeing the reality of the situation, but also detaching from it. Now, as a child growing up, this happening to you, all right, you know, this would have been hard also for the narcissist, because again, those core wounds were being embedded all the time, and they as a child didn't understand it or didn't have kind of like the vocabulary to be able to describe it. Not like the narcissistic parents would have listened to it or whatever, but this is how the narcissist has learned to cope in these types of situations. Now, fast forward into adulthood, okay, this still remains a core wound. It is an abandonment. So it means that what you have done is you've triggered a core wound that hasn't been looked at, that hasn't been worked upon, and you are triggering them. So they feel rejected and abandoned by you. So they're not going to look at this in a positive way. They're not going to understand why you have done it. And also they're not going to understand their own behavior has caused this situation. This is not how narcissists work. This is not how these type of people kind of think. Remember, I've talked about this in a lot of videos where I've said they have an external locus of control. So they externalize everything. They have done this in order to be able to protect themselves. So they're not going to internalize it and think, you know, maybe I have upset this person and maybe I have contributed to this situation. I know, let's maybe try and work it out. That's not how they're going to be thinking. So please don't think that, you know, they're going to come back for you or they're going to try and understand this. They're not going to do that in this scenario. You know, also for them, rejection is a massive ego blow. Like it's like you have completely denounced them, you don't want them, and that for them is really, really hard to fathom. There's going to be a lot of denial, okay, on their part. There's going to be a lot of resentment. There's going to be a lot of shame, and all of this is coming up. This will also trigger and threaten their sense of self, their worth, and their superiority. And in a bid to be able to reestablish themselves, they are going to blame you. In order for them to be able to cope with this situation, okay, because they don't know their triggers, they don't know that they're being triggered, they are going to try and reestablish themselves by blaming you, by projecting all of this onto you. So they're going to say that everything that you have said, everything that you're trying to work out with this person, maybe you're even talking to them, maybe you're trying to kind of work this situation out, and you know, all they're going to see is that you're the issue. You have done this to them, you have disobeyed them, you're not doing what you're supposed to do, so they are going to project and put the blame all onto you. Another scenario will be that in order to regain their sense of self and superiority, they are going to seek revenge, okay, or punishment. All right, because again, you have disobeyed them, you have made them feel like this, how dare you do that? They're the ones that are meant to be in control. So you have not done what you were supposed to, or the plan that they had, or how this scenario was supposed to go. Okay, it didn't go their way. So now they are really angry. And the way that they cope with the anger, or this uncomfortableness of the anger, is that they start to seek revenge, and they start to seek punishment. At this point, I'll really be honest with you, there's no point trying to work it out. Maybe they're calling you, maybe they're messaging you, or whatever it is, maybe they're turning up in person. There's no point talking about it, because you're going to get blamed for all of this. There's going to be a lot of projection, and it's going to, the conversation will be one-sided. It's going to be about the way that it's made them feel. How could you have done this to this? How could you have done this to me? There is no way of trying to kind of like work this out. Where do you go from here? Like, you've decided that this person is not right for you. Look at what they have done. They've caused all of this pain, all of this heartache. And now they're coming to try and resolve or try to talk about it. I mean, what is there to talk about? They're not going to understand your point of view. And I'll be honest with you, they're also not listening to what you have to say. To them, that is not important. What is important is that you have caused them irritation, you have rejected them, you have angered them, you got to be punished. And all of this comes from is a lack of empathy. All right, a lack of understanding. I've always said this, and I even talk about this a lot in the lives, okay? They don't see situations or experience life or perceive their environment the same way that me or you do. And the biggest factor here is that they don't have empathy. They don't have understanding. They cannot put themselves in your shoes. So I understand that it probably is challenging or difficult for you if you are facing this situation. But you're not going to be able to move forward from this with this person. They are always going to be like this, simply because they are missing this one vital part of empathy. And empathy is such a massive factor, especially with interpersonal relationships. All right, for them, they have to protect themselves. This is why everything that they do, everything that they say is always centered around them. It's always very selfish for them, because they don't have empathy. So they don't have the bandwidth to take in the consideration of you. They're not able to do that. This is a deficit in this disorder. And this cannot be fixed, no matter how many times you talk about it, no matter how many times you want them to understand. They cannot. It's about them. And you have to understand that when you have had so much emotional trauma as a child, okay, that means that the way that your brain developed is going to be a little bit different. It's going to be a little bit skewed. Because of the way that their brain is wired, you can't fix it. They're not going to initiate that understanding. And so you talking about it, you communicating whatever it is, they are never going to change. And think about it also. There's also the fact of them being emotionally immature as well. Like, someone who is a mature adult wouldn't go around smearing you, wouldn't go around seeking revenge. Things would have turned out a lot different if they were emotionally mature. So take these things into consideration. The narcissist hates the rejection, as we know. It's a trigger. They're going to get you back. That's basically the bottom line. And if you are someone, okay, that is facing this at the moment, and maybe wants to talk to someone, please know that I do offer one-to-one consultations. Please see the description box below. This topic that I'm discussing is really more to do about, like, more kind of information about this video. I've also got a journal club and a mentorship. If you're interested in joining, please see the description box below. There's also the Discord server, which is absolutely free for you to join. It's a community of like-minded individuals. If you're interested in joining, the link is in the description box. Guys, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video. Goodbye.